One of the things that are said about Saddam Hussein, making a case against him, is that he gassed his own people, he committed genocide against the Kurds at the end of the Iran-Iraq war. What really...
Specifically, what I say in my book is that both Iraq and Iran used chemical weapons against each other. They were trying to kill each other. The story essentially was distorted here in the United States to make it appear that only Iraq used chemical weapons, that the Iraqi chemical weapons killed the Iraqi civilians, the Kurds, and that this was done deliberately as an act of genocide. In fact, we know, or I know, because I was an intelligence officer at the time, that the actual incident was a battle in which the two sides were trying to capture the city of Halabja, and both used chemical weapons against each other, and the Kurds, who were caught in the middle, were killed. So you can't say it's genocide. Moreover, the Defense Intelligence Agency in the U.S. examined the battle afterwards, immediately afterwards, and they concluded that based on an examination of the corpses, that the type of gas that killed the Kurds was the gas the Iranians used, but not the Iraqis.
It's called a blood agent.
It's called a blood agent. It's a cyanide-based gas, and it gives itself away because the corpses, the extremities are blue. So he looked at the corpses and they said, well, that's cyanide-based.
And what was Iraq using?
Iraq was using mustard gas.
Totally different effect?
Totally different effect.
Why do you think that the CIA at the time used that information that you say is distorted, that Iraq was committing genocide against the Kurds?
It wasn't primarily the CIA. Unfortunately, the CIA went along. But primarily, it was the Bush administration, the other Bush administration. Up until the end of the Iran-Iraq war, there was not a great deal made of this Halabja incident. The DIA said it was the Iranians. The Bush administration accepted that, and no great to-do was made of it. As soon as the Iraqis won the war, and it appeared that the balance of power in the Middle East had been significantly disturbed, because now the Iranians could not fight anymore, the United States realized that it had a problem on its hand in Iraq, because the Iraqis, having won the war, were now beginning to assert themselves. They were beginning to make statements to the effect that only the Arab states in the Gulf should be responsible for the security of the Gulf. Effectively, what they were asking us was to get out, the Americans to get out. So immediately, the administration shifted, and Iraq became the villain. And then you began to get a lot of anti-Iraq propaganda here in the United States. And one of the main charges that was leveled was this one about the gassing of the Kurds. The then Secretary of State Schultz was the one who initially made the charge. And he said not only had the Iraqis used gas at Halabja, but at the very last days of the war, this would be in the summer of '88, they undertook a campaign to wipe out the Kurds using chemicals. And they even went so far as to say 100,000 Kurds were killed, which was nonsense. You can't kill 100,000 people using chemical weapons in the kind of terrain you have in northern Iraq. So I would say it was done to demonize the Iraqis and to cheat them of the victory they'd won, and to hopefully, from the administration's side, reestablish a suitable balance of power in the Persian Gulf. Saddam Hussein is the ultimate Ba'athist. He is an organization man. If he goes and the Ba'ath goes, the country falls.